right, everybody, welcome back. Get ready, because today we're diving into some seriously unorthodox ideas about Jerusalem.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be cracking open pasted text by Dr. Khaled Walid.
Okay.
And
I've heard of this, yeah.
well, let me tell you, this isn't your typical history lesson. Not at all.
Okay.
Dr. Walid's making some, well, let's just say bold claims about Jerusalem's past and its significance.
That's one way to put it. Yeah, Dr. Walid definitely throws out a lot of terms and ideas that are likely to raise eyebrows, to say the least.
Yeah.
Even among, those of us who've spent years digging into history and religion.
Right, right.
But, I mean, that's kind of what makes this deep dive so fascinating, right?
Exactly, because it's like he's piecing together a puzzle, but like the pieces are from completely different puzzles.
Yeah.
One of the biggest head scratchers right out of the gate is his claim that Jerusalem, not Mecca, is the first house mentioned in the Quran.
Yeah, big statement.
Huge. And he even points to Psalm 84.6 in the Bible, the part about the Valley of Baca, and connects it to the word Baca, which he says refers to Jerusalem. So, like, what do you make of that?
Well, to even, get into that, you have to understand how important the idea of the first house is in Islam.
Yeah.
This is about the foundation of the faith.
Yeah.
The place where it's believed, divine revelation first happened.
Right.
So to suggest that it's somewhere else, not Mecca, that's a really big deal, theologically speaking.
Yeah, I bet.
And then you bring in, the connection to Psalm 84.6. That's where it gets even more interesting.
Yeah.
Because now Dr. Woolley is using this kind of, cross-cultural, almost archaeological approach to language, making these connections between traditions that on the surface, don't seem related.
Right.
Whether those links hold up under, real scrutiny, that's a whole other question.
Exactly.
But it's definitely...
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And then he keeps going. Right?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't stop there. He calls Jerusalem all these different names. We've got Utopia, Yathrib, which, for those who don't know, was the old name for Medina.
Right, exactly. So you've got these threads from, early Islamic history.
Yeah.
And then he just throws in Atlantis.
I know. Like Atlantis. The mythical lost city. It's almost like he's saying, Jerusalem is this primordial paradise, the source of, all knowledge and wisdom just hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, this secret history that's been there all along.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he even connects it to Pangaea, saying Jerusalem was the first piece of land to emerge.
Well, that ties into how he reads the whole Great Flood story, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Noah's Ark landing on Mount Shudi, and then he draws this line to Jerusalem as, the original dry land.
Okay.
He's building this case for Jerusalem being this, uniquely sacred spot chosen by God from the very beginning. Now, I know that Atlantis connection might seem like a bit of a stretch.
Just a tad.
But, it does reveal something about how Dr. Walid seems to view history.
Yeah.
It's not just a linear progression of events, dates and names. It's more like a tapestry woven from myths and symbols and, ancient wisdom.
I like that. That's a good visual.
Yeah.
It's definitely a much bolder approach than I'm used to.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, everybody listening, buckle up, because Dr. Walid, he takes this idea of Jerusalem's sacred status to a whole other level, strap in.
Oh, yeah.
He comes right out and says it's the literal throne of God on earth.
Whoa.
And he's not being metaphorical here.
No kidding.
He points to verses in the Quran, 13.2 and 69.17, which talk about God, establishing his throne.
Okay.
But then he takes it super literally, really literal. He even talks about how Jerusalem is surrounded by 8 mountains.
Right.
And he links that to descriptions of angels carrying God's throne.
I mean, you have to give him credit for, the imagery there. It's pretty vivid.
Oh, yeah, it's very visual.
Yeah, he's painting this picture almost like something out of, a medieval tapestry or something.
Yes.
But you're right. He is being very literal in how he reads those verses.
Mm-hmm.
And in Islamic theology, that's not the only way to understand the idea of the throne,
Right.
It's often understood more metaphorically,
Okay.
representing God's majesty and authority.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much a physical seat somewhere specific.
So what you're saying is, Dr. Walid's view, it might not be the standard Islamic interpretation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's definitely unique.
But I gotta admit, the guy has a flair for the dramatic, a literal throne of God. That's a heck of a claim.
It certainly is.
Right.
And it gets, if you can believe it, even more interesting when he digs into the word Jerusalem itself.
Okay.
And the people he believes were the first to call it home, the Jebusites.
Oh, yes, the Sons of the Rock and the whole Palestine connection.
That's right.
This is where his argument gets really interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe a little out there.
We'll see. We'll see. He goes down this whole linguistic rabbit hole, right? Connecting Judy, from the Noah's Ark story to Neck, Jerusalem, and even, get this, gypsum.
It's like he's creating this etymological breadcrumb trail, like Hansel and Gretel. But instead of leading to a gingerbread house, it's leading back to this ancient truth about Jerusalem.
And the big reveal at the end of that trail is this claim that Palestine, which he translates as Sons of the Rock, refers to the Jebusites, the people who lived in Jerusalem before, King David's conquest.
And just so we're clear for our listeners, the Jebusites, they were the, indigenous inhabitants of Jerusalem way back before it became central to the Israelite kingdoms. They kind of shrouded in mystery.
Totally, yeah. A bit of a blank slate, historically speaking, which, leaves them open to this kind of reinterpretation.
Right.
And Dr. Walid uses this whole Palestine thing to argue that the Jebusites, they were the original Arabs.
Whoa, okay.
And that Palestine itself, it isn't some modern invention, but a term that's rooted in their ancient presence.
So he's drawing this mimi from the very beginnings of civilization straight through to today, with Jerusalem smack dab in the center.
Exactly.
It's a bold claim, man. It challenges a lot of conventional historical narratives. Yeah.
It does. It does. And to be fair to Dr. Walid, he's not the first to point out that terms like Palestine, they're complex.
Right.
And often, let's face it, politically charged.
For sure.
The history of this region, it's anything but straightforward.
Definitely not.
And the question of who gets to define that narrative, oh man, that's a source of, ongoing debate.
And that's where things get really interesting, because Dr. Walid, he isn't just presenting a historical theory here. He's issuing a call to action.
Right. He is not subtle about it either. He straight up talks about a return to the true Qibla.
Okay, so hold on. For those of us who aren't scholars, break that down.
So he's suggesting that Muslims should reorient themselves towards Jerusalem, not Mecca.
Wow.
Which, in the context of Islamic tradition, that's a huge statement.
Yeah, because changing the direction of prayer, the Qibla...
That's a really big deal.
It's not something you just, decide to do one day.
Not at all. It calls into question, centuries of established practice, interpretation.
Wow.
But it shows you how deeply Dr. Walid believes this.
Okay.
He's not just, tinkering around the edges of history. He's calling for, a fundamental shift in how we see things.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
And the language he uses it's powerful. He doesn't just say, hey, maybe we should rethink this.
Right.
He's issuing a warning about abandoning Palestine.
It's true.
Saying that those who do have lost everything and will not be accepted by Allah.
There's a real urgency in his words. Yeah. Almost like a plea for people to, to wake up to what he sees as this truth of Jerusalem's significance.
Okay.
And the dangers of forgetting it or neglecting it.
So it's he's saying this isn't just some academic debate, dust off the books, have a conversation over tea.
Right.
This is about reclaiming a lost heritage, reasserting an identity that's been, pushed aside, and ultimately, fulfilling some kind of spiritual destiny.
Exactly. And that gets to the heart of what makes Dr. Walid's perspective so compelling.
Okay.
Even if you don't agree with everything he says, or even most of it. He's tapping into something much deeper than just historical facts.
Deeper? How so?
He's grappling with these huge questions, right?
Yeah.
Questions of faith, identity, belonging, especially in a place like Jerusalem, where those things are constantly being, fought over, debated.
Right. Always at the forefront. So building on that idea of a true center, it's almost like Dr. Walid's work is asking us, what happens when history as we know it gets rewritten? What happens when there's a different focal point, a different set of priorities? It really makes you think about how we write history, whose voices get to be heard, whose stories get told. And Dr. Walid is offering a narrative that comes from a deeply personal and cultural place.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes his work so valuable, even if we don't always agree with him. He forces us to think outside those accepted narratives, to consider perspectives that often get, pushed to the margins.
It's like he's holding up this mirror to history and saying, hey, look what happens when you shift the focus, when you put a different set of experiences at the center. And yeah, maybe we don't fully buy into everything he says about Atlantis or the whole Palestine thing.
Right.
But it makes you realize that history is always open to interpretation.
Yep.
It's not set in stone.
Absolutely. And those different interpretations, they have real consequences. Like, they shape how we see the world today, how we understand conflict, how we relate to each other.
So even if some of Dr. Waleed's ideas seem, I don't know, a little out there, you have to admire his attempt to reclaim the narrative, to connect with a past that's been, hidden or erased.
Exactly. It reminds us that history, it's not just a bunch of dates and names in a textbook. It's a living thing, shaped by power, by memory, by our human need to make sense of where we come from.
And in a place like Jerusalem, where you've got all these layers of history, religion, politics, all smashed together.
Yeah, it's like a powder keg.
Those questions of interpretation, they become even more intense, more urgent.
It's a good reminder that the stories we tell about the past, they have a huge impact on how we shape the present and the future.
So well said. Wow, this has been quite a journey exploring Dr. Khalid Waleed's unique and, let's face it, pretty unorthodox perspective on Jerusalem.
It's been a wild ride.
But it shows you the power of ideas, right? And how taking a fresh look at history, even if it ruffles some feathers, can really challenge our assumptions and give us some amazing new insights.
Absolutely. It reminds us that even the most familiar subjects, there's always more to uncover,
Always more layers to peel back.
Exactly.
Thanks to everyone for diving deep with us on this one. It's clear that Jerusalem's story is far from over, and the conversation sparked by thinkers like Dr. Waleed, well, those are going to continue for a long, long time.
I think you're right about that.
And that's it for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.